Hey everybody, how we doing? Well, guess what? Our panel glued up very nicely. So we've got our big staircase raised panel as part of our fabrication project here and tutorial. I told you I had to attach this tonight, which it's Monday. We had to let the glue dry, and it is what it is. But I wanted to basically show you how to get your angles on this and then how to secure it to the table, which is what we're going to do right now. All right, I'll bring the camera in because I know some of you probably, some of you might have a little bit of a hard time understanding the Swanson speed squares. They're very simple, and this, like I said, this is probably one of the single most handiest tools any carpenter has, and I don't imagine any of them would argue with me. All right, you hang tight. We're going to bring the camera in. I told you that our panels also are going to be cut dimensionally prior to engraving. We're not doing any cutting out whatsoever on top of my spoiler board. Alright? My particular panel is going to fit between my gantry with no problem. I had also mentioned to you that sometimes in the bigger engravings, although we always program in VCarve Pro or Aspire, maybe you're running Cut 2D, when you program something in CAD, or at least VCarve Pro, you program it horizontally so you can see it in the software. You're not going to program something on the y-axis and program with your head cocked. But in the case of these panels, if your gantry is wide enough, you're never going to have to rotate your programs, okay? We'll show you a little bit more here in a second. You hang on, we'll bring the camera in, we'll show you how to use your Swanson, okay? We'll be right with you. Alright folks, now if you remember in VCarve Pro, we laid out a big box, 30 by 60. Okay, this is basically what this panel is. I showed you in VCarve Pro that what we did was we came in from the bottom and I came up 1 inch. We'll make a mark. I'll bring in my speed square. Okay, we've got a 1 inch mark right here. What we're going to do, and I'm hoping you can see this. Okay, right in the corner here, there's a line that's marked pivot. And I'm bringing it in as close as I can. Okay, this, and there's also a little fence. If you were ever doing cross cuts, or you were ever marking boards to be cross cut, basically that's how your speed square would sit. It's going to do the same thing here. We're going to sit our square here. Now, along the outer rim, and I'm hoping that you can see them. All right, we have degrees, 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth. I know that my staircase is at 35 degrees. I'm going to set my pivot point in this corner, 1 inch up from the bottom where I just marked it. Now I've got 35 degrees right there. Holding my corner with my finger, I am going to rotate this up 35 degrees. There's my 35 degrees. I'm going to make a mark with my pencil. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my big, long, bright, straight edge. I'm going to put him on. And I'm going to follow that degree mark all the way across. And that's it. Now knowing that we have the correct degree, I don't have to do this again. I'll measure 36 inches up from my lowest point, 36 inches up from my highest point. We'll draw another mark, and those are the ends that we're going to cut off. Some people would go, Steve, that's a little wasteful. Well, that's okay, because I need lots of kindling for the upcoming winter. So what we'll do is I'm not going to make you sit through cutting this down. From here, we'll go in, we'll show you how we're going to secure this to our spoiler board, find our center, and get ready to proceed with the next step, which would be the engraving. Okay? You hang on, we'll be right back. Alright everyone, we're back. Well, we went outside to keep the sawdust down, obviously, and we cut our raised staircase panel. I cut both my degrees. I just did them with a skill saw. And as you can see, let me see if I can get the panel rotated right. Now, I think that's about right. Are you seeing this okay? Alrighty. So, here's our upper, here's our lower. I wrote top across it just because I don't want any... Yeah, if there's a way for me to love something up, I'd figure it out. Okay, now, we told you that in some cases these are going to be longer than your actual spoiler board may allow. No big deal. We've got an excess off one end that's just going to overhang the end of the machine. Now, because I only went the width that I went, okay, which in this case is 30 inches is what we gave you the program for, or we actually showed you in VCarve Pro, 30 by 60, and then with our two angles, we end up with 30 by, I think long point to long point, if I had to guess, would be about 58 inches. Okay. I've got my white piece of fence in. That's my top. I'm going to load this in. Now, because we had just rerun the spoiler board for our big town sign job, I told you the gantry on our y-axis maxes out at 50.249. Well, I actually milled my MDF spoiler board that I put on, so it's acting like a fence. I've installed a piece of white composite here to act as my fence on the side of my y-axis. I lock this in place. I push it up to my top. Hits. Everything's good. What I will do, in the back room I've got a bunch of these wooden blocks. How I would secure this is I'm just going to block this. I'm going to put blocks all around it. The screws that are in here are long enough to go through the block and into the spoiler board that I put over my factory. Again, I don't use clamps. I don't care for them. That's just me. But I also don't want to sit and run a gazillion screws through my factory spoiler board either. So keep that in mind. But it's your machine, of course. Okay? So we get everything blocked. It's not going to go anywhere. I told you I will drop my spoiler board bit though. I'm going to kiss my fascia real quick to make sure that everything is universally flat. I also want to know basically what my milling surface is, with that being my top. So how I'm going to figure that out, I'm going to come up to my, my highest spot on the bottom of my panel. I'm going to make a mark. I'm going to come over here to the other side where my low spot is. I'm going to make a mark. Alright, now what I'll also do is I'll just grab one of my big straight edges. I'll lay him up. What I want to do is I want to see how much room I'm going to have to actually work with. Now, in some cases, you can still utilize your upper and your lower. Now what I've got here is a spot, 30 wide, 17 and a half. Now, 30 by 17 and a half is my box. However, we still have plenty of leftover up here and down here. Now, depending upon the scene that you pick, you may have something with a big tall pine tree. That would look really good up in that corner. You may have something with a waterfall with the brook running down, or a stream. So if it goes below this horizontal line that we drew and it runs down into the panel here, that's going to look appropriate. Okay? When you go to lay these out with the patterns that I've given you, in the template especially, as you start dropping things in, you're going to see what looks right, what does not look right. You may be happy just dropping one animal in. That's kind of the route we're going to be going, I think. I've changed my theme out again. I think I told you we're going to be doing all black bears. I love bears, and that's just what my wife and I decided we were going to go with. So, all right, really nothing to this, folks. This is not a big to-do. Even somebody with a little bit of a smaller machine, let's say you only had 24 inches on your X, well, you could still max out your panel into your gantry. Doesn't matter how long this is. I've told you that before. Between our fireplace mantle tutorial, as well as all them big slab headboards that I do for my log beds, okay? The only thing you've got to stay in tune with is what you have between your gantry arms. Length, forget about the lengths anymore, okay? Alright. Well, I hope this helped. I hope you guys got a little something out of this project. Unfortunately, I can't mill this today. I've got obligations to clients for the next week or two, but I'm going to end up building all my panels. I'm going to get all my panels, cut the size, I'll put them in the back room, and we'll have them ready to go so that when I do have a couple days, I can drop one in and mill it, okay? Well, I hope this helped you guys as always, you ladies and gentlemen. Please, if you ever have any questions on these projects, do not hesitate. You can reach me, steve@littlewoodshop.com, Facebook. You can hit us through the funny pages, okay? So everybody, please have a great week. We'll see you Wednesday for our midweek shout out, and that's pretty much it. Stay tuned. We'll have more to come, and probably a better idea by Wednesday of what we're doing next weekend. Okay. All right, everyone. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.